The Neckar-Westheim 1 nuclear plant near Stuttgart has now been shut down after 35 years of operation. Unlike other reactors in Germany, the closure here has already been confirmed as permanent. The plant is the largest employer in the local town, and that isn't set to change. Neckar-Westheim 2 next door is a modern power plant and will continue operation. Japan's nuclear disaster has had a rapid political impact in Germany, but most locals are not sad to see the old plant shut down.
It's good. It needed to happen. That was the original agreement and legally correct.
But tax revenue will be lost and jobs cut.
Yes, but what are jobs when we're talking about human life?
I assumed it was relatively safe and nothing would go wrong. And if something did go wrong, we'd all be affected anyway.
I support nuclear power because I think our energy costs have to remain affordable. But the risk needs to be kept under control. And as we had 2 power plants, one old one and one new one, the latest to be built in Germany, I think it's okay.
Soon after the news from Japan broke, tens of thousands of anti-nuclear demonstrators took to the streets in Germany. Protesters formed a human chain from Neckar-Westheim to Stuttgart, making their demand loud and clear. Shut it down, they chant. Angela Merkel's government has long argued that nuclear power is environmentally friendly and necessary to meet Germany's power needs until alternatives can be developed. But with the Japan disaster, things changed.
If a country like Japan that has very high safety standards is clearly unable to prevent the nuclear consequences of an earthquake and tsunami, then the whole world, including Europe and Germany, which also has high safety standards, clearly cannot just resume business as usual.
Just 2 days later, the German government began making a U-turn, placing its entire nuclear policy under review.
And for this reason, we're placing a moratorium on our recent decision to extend the lifespan of Germany's nuclear power plants.
After what we saw in Japan, of course, we will have to conduct a new risk analysis for Germany.
The next day, with news from Japan getting worse by the hour, the German government announced its new policy, moving away from nuclear power and investing more in renewable energies.
In view of the situation, we will conduct a safety review of all our nuclear power plants.
We've made another far more reaching decision to shut down all older nuclear power plants as a precaution.
In most cases, the shutdown will initially last for only 3 months. The U-turn in policy without consulting Parliament triggered a political storm in Germany, while on the streets, many demonstrators remain skeptical. We flash back to before the crisis in Japan. It seems like another era now when the Chancellor announced that the lifespan of the German reactors would be extended because they were definitely safe.
Safety comes first, and we already have the safest nuclear power plants in the world.
Just a few months later, the world's safest nuclear power plants apparently require urgent safety checks. 7 of Germany's 17 power plants have been taken offline. The opposition says it's just tactical maneuvering ahead of key regional elections.
It's just delay tactics, not a real change of heart because of the events in Japan.
The
7 oldest nuclear power plants are being taken offline, but nothing has been said about what will happen after the 3 months.
This is just an election maneuver on the part of the Chancellor just to get her through the regional elections.
It's a super election year in Germany, and the government can't afford any more bad press, even if that means saying a goodbye to one of its key policies.
I can only say that I consider this path to be the right one. Everyone can appreciate that last weekend has changed things, that it was an exceptional situation in every way, and people expect us to take action.
Environmental activists in Neckar-Westheim are convinced the move is just electioneering. They say the crisis in Japan has not revealed any new risks associated with nuclear power.
The situation that has now occurred in Japan has been written in our brochures as a possible risk since the 1970s. Nuclear proponents always said it couldn't happen, but the sad fact is it has happened. Shutting the older nuclear power stations is unavoidable and urgently necessary.
The local government in Neckar-Westheim doesn't see what's changed either. But here too, the mayor, who does not belong to any party, supports the decision to shut down the plant.
When the Chancellor or the State Premier take action, they're accused of electioneering. If they hadn't taken action, they'd be accused of not listening to the people.
Neckar-Westheim 1 has been shut down, but officials say no one will lose their job. The plant still has to be demolished, which will take at least 10 years.